MX menu contains a CAD menu. The menu can be switched between MX and CAD by selecting CAD and then CAD menu. MX toolbars loaded by default are MX Display, MX Controls and MX Conversion. The CAD toolboxes loaded by default are Main, Task List, Primary, Attributes, View Control and View Groups. The View Control is only available in MX Standalone and MX in Microstation. It appears by default at the top of each view. View Attributes selects, controls and changes the type of elements and graphic attributes in the information displayed in the view. Save Views used to name, save, delete, import, apply and recall saved views. Saving a view allows you to quickly recall a view with specific attribute settings. Zoom in out increases or decreases the magnification of a view. Window area magnify an area of the display in the selected view. Fit view fits the entire display in a view. Other options are available. View rotation rotates the display in a view. Select from top view or one of the other 9 variations of rotation available from the flyout toolbar. Rotate view 2D. This rotates or maneuvers a display in a progressive and dynamic way within a view. Pan view moves or pans the display without changing the view magnification. Move the display under the cursor by holding the left mouse button down and moving the cursor around the screen. View previous next toggles through the last view control operations. The middle roll button on the mouse can be scrolled to zoom in and out of a drawing. I can also keep the middle roller button down and pan around the drawing. I'm going to zoom in to an area of the drawing and I want to save this view, so I'm going to use the view control, saved views. There's a create saved view. I select that and in my tool settings window in the bottom right I'm going to name this view Zoom 1 or Z1. I can give a description if required, but all I need to do now is select the view source, so I left click in the drawing window and that creates my Zoom 1. I'm now going to pan around to another section of the drawing and I'm going to save this view. Yet again I create a saved view. I'm going to call it Z2 this time, and again I left click in the drawing window for my source view. You can now see Zoom 2 has been created. I can use the view control to fit the view, and while I've got the save view panel up, all I need to do is double click on Z1, which is my first zoom, and it goes to the save view. I can also double click on Z2 to go to my second zoom. I'm now going to delete one of the saved views. You select it in the saved views panel and you select delete saved view from the toolbar. You can see it's been removed from the list. Yet again I'm going to zoom extents or fit view. I can now zoom in using the view control toolbar. I select that. You can see there's an active box. I left click, I zoom in. I right click to exit the command. I can now zoom out. I left click on the toolbar and every time that I left click in the drawing I zoom out. Right click to finish. I can also use window area. Again I specify a top left and bottom right. Let go of the left cursor and there's my windowed area. I can fit view by selecting the Fit View icon on the toolbar. I can also rotate a view in 2D. I left click the toolbar and I'm pivoting about the centre of the screen. You can move this across, but I'm just going to pivot clockwise. I've got the left button pressed down and I select and I let go of the left button and I right click to finish the command. The easiest way to return to my previous view is to go to the view rotation on the view control, and you can see there's a little black arrow at the bottom right of this toolbar icon. If I keep my left button pressed down on this toolbar, I can get to top view and I let go of my mouse. I can also toggle through the last view control operations by left clicking on view previous, or I can go view next to scroll forward. MX menu contains a CAD menu. This can be accessed through CAD menu, and we can now see the CAD menu. I can also toggle back to the MX menu through MX menu. The MX menu is loaded by default, can be accessed through View Toolbars. You can see we have the MX Model Display, MX Conversion and Applications. Here's the MX Model Display, the MX Control Toolbar, the MX Conversion. Now I'm just going to dock these. We also have CAD toolbars loaded by default. We can go to CAD, Tools, and you can see the attributes, primary, main and tasks are loaded. The attributes toolbar is here, and again I will dock this. The primary tools, yet again I'll dock that. The main toolbar I'll drop to the left, and tasks, again I'll dock to the left hand side of the display. CAD tools. The primary toolbox has a models dialog which manages CAD models. There is also a reference dialog which attaches and detaches reference models. The level manager includes a list of models, levels and filters on the left and a detail section on the right. Element information displays element information such as its type, attributes, geometry and permits modification. Toggles pop set, enable, disable, affects the display of the tool settings window when the cursor is in its vicinity. The attributes toolbox sets the properties of an element and applies them to a new element or one or more existing elements. The View Groups toolbox allows you to manage view groups, and there are 8 available view windows, which allows you to set up your desktop to display your preferences, including number of open view windows, window size and view orientation. The main toolbox. MX users will initially need to know how element selection selects and deselects elements. The other tools are covered in the Microstation for MX users course. I'm going to look at the primary toolbar. The first icon is models. If I just left click on this icon, you can see that we have a 3D master model, but there is also a 2D model, and this is very useful when we're exporting to AutoCAD. I will show this now. Now exit the models dialog box, and I'm going to go to File, Export, AutoCAD Drawing. I'm going to create a new drawing called a CAD Export, and I'm just going to look at the Options panel in the bottom right. If I select that, I can left click on the DWG version and I can set that in case any of my clients have not got the current version of AutoCAD. I'll leave it on the current values, and when I hit OK, this will automatically create I'm going to save, it will create a 3D drawing and also a 2D drawing, a flat drawing, and any draftsperson will be very happy that they have this 2D drawing to work on. If I now look in a Windows Explorer, you can see that I have a 3D AutoCAD drawing, but because of that 2D model, we automatically generate a flat AutoCAD drawing. If I select references on the primary toolbar by left clicking, it opens up a panel which allows me to attach references. Note in the bottom here the files of type allows me to attach DGNs but also DWG. I'm just going to cancel the panel. If I have got attached references, I can also select them and detach them if required. The level manager. If I left click on that, this will list all the levels in the current DGN. And as if you can remember, the feature name set from MX is the key, because this provides all the level names in the CAD environment. We have buildings, carriageway channels. If I select hedge from the list, I can use a global freeze on this level. If I left click, we can see the hedges have been removed from the drawing. If I left click again, they are redisplayed. The last icon on this primary toolbar is pop set. It is a toggle between disable and enable, and it affects the display of the tool settings window in the bottom right of my drawing. With the pop set enabled, as I move my cursor in the bottom right towards the tool settings window, as it gets close, the panel disappears and I could get information underneath the tool settings window. As I move my cursor away from it again, it will reappear. If I left click on pop set, it is now disabled. This basically means when I bring my cursor down towards the tool settings window, it will not disappear. I would have to move it manually by grabbing it with the left mouse button and moving it into a position that I require. This is just a preference. Do you want the tool settings window always available, or if you go for pop set enable, do you want it to disappear as you move your cursor in the vicinity of the tool settings window? On any toolbox in the CAD drawing, if I right click, I can list all the available tools on this toolbox, and you can see some are not displayed. If I left click, I can make the saved views available. I can also right click again and I could show all of the available icons on the toolbox. Now going to use view groups. Each drawing has 8 available view windows, and in the bottom right here you can see that currently I have view 1 active, but I can left click on 2, I can left click on 3 and open up these views. Note that each of the views has its own view control, and you can see view 2 is actually an isometric view. This could be changed by going on to view rotation, and I could set this to top view. If I go to view 3, again I could set that to a top view again, or I could say let's go to an isometric view, so these are easily defined. I can also go to CAD, window, and I can arrange these 3 view windows. I can also save these. If I go down to the bottom right here, we have Manage View Groups. And if I left click on that, I can create a view group for future use. If I go left click, I can say, let's call this 3 MX views. I can give a description if required, and I can go OK, and it is now saved. I can manage the view groups by double clicking on them in this list. Again, going back to the 3 I've just saved, also back to the original MX view. I'm going to close this panel down. I can also turn on the views by left clicking down in the bottom right there, so I can turn off view 2, I can turn off view 3, I can maximise my view 1, and I will also fit view. Now I can return to my view groups by either hitting the left mouse button on the drop down there, and you can see there's my 3 MX views, or I could go to Manage View Groups, left click on there, and I can double click on my view group in the window there. Double click and I'm back. We're now going to look at the main toolbox. We're going to use element selection. If I left click to select that icon, the tool settings window is now activated, and we can see the various options we can individually select. We can place a block around an area, we can use shape, circle, or a cutting line. The other options available underneath this are new. We can add to a current selection, we can subtract, we can also select all. I'm going to select by left clicking on an MX feature. In the bottom right of the drawing window you can see the number 1, which will tell me that I've got 1 element selected. If I hit the plus, I can add to this selection. We can see the 2 in the bottom for my selection set. I could also use the block. If I select that, I can place a block around information. And I've also, because I've got the plus, I've added to the selection. At any stage, if I want to clear the selection, I left click on clear. Again, I can go back to individual. I'm going to go for a new selection. This time I'm going to use the cutting line. Again, I left click, and you can see if I move my cursor and I left click again, anything that was been cut by that line, you can see it's been added to my selection set. I now have 14. Again, to deselect, I go clear, left click. I'm going to go back to the original individual and new for my selection set. Demonstrate the MX Model Display Toolbar. First of all, I can select my model from the list. Obviously we only have one model in the database at the moment, so I'm selecting Survey. I'm going to right click. Edit Model Defaults is available here, where we can set the plan style set and the feature set. The first icon on this toolbar erases the display and draws the current model from the list. The second icon will display a model over this current drawing and add to it. The third icon will erase the current MX model from the plan drawing. I'll select that and the survey disappears. If I pick the second icon, I can add the survey to the current drawing. This is a lot quicker than using Display Plan with Style Set, as I demonstrated earlier. I'm now going to use the Level Manager to show transparency. Level Manager from the primary toolbox. Left click. This will list all the levels in the current drawing. I'm going to right click on the tabs across the top here on the right hand side, and I'm going to go for transparency, left click. Now that transparency has been added to the menu bar, I could select individual features. I can use the control key to add to these features, or I can go right hand mouse button and I can select all. I can now set the transparency by left clicking on one of these selected levels, and I'm going to set my transparency to 70%. And if you look at the drawing, you'll see that my survey is now faded. Again, if I right click back on the transparency, I can set that back to, left click and set that back to 0, and you can see the survey is back at its original display. This can be a very useful option when we are using references. You might have a design in the current drawing and referencing a survey, and this survey drawing could have a high transparency setting, so it's set dimmed in the background. The last thing I'm going to show in this session is the MX output window. MX Display Toolbar. Select a model to display from the list of the available model names. Icons on the toolbar include: erase the drawing, then display the model. This deletes all the MX elements from the current drawing and the selected model is redisplayed. Display the current model over this drawing. This adds the current model to the drawing. Erase the current model, deletes the selected model from the current display. There is also a create drawing from a saved display set, and also open the multi-model panel, which allows selection of more than one model to display. The MX Controls toolbar shows application focus, either MX or CAD. You can manually toggle the box to override the setting if you wish to use the CAD commands when you are in the middle of an MX option, and vice versa. Use PSM pick mode to select either single pick or multi-pick. There is also PSM lock mode to set the default MX snap. The MX output window. Check to display the MX output window. The multiple models icon can be used to select models on the checkbox to the left of each model name. Save. This creates a display set that can be recalled. Create a new plan drawing from a saved display set. Just select a saved display set to create a new plan drawing. Copy and paste selected models. Highlight models to copy. The right hand mouse button selection can be used to create a new model, delete model, copy model, paste model and edit model defaults. You can also rename a model by highlighting it and re-clicking. All the MX toolbars can be customized. Just right click and select or deselect the options or show all. The MX menu can be used to save AutoCAD drawings. Use File, Export, AutoCAD Drawing. Select the options, which allows the version of AutoCAD to be set and how to handle any attached references. On the Primary Tools toolbox, select the References icon to attach and detach previously created drawings to the current drawing. Select the Attach References icon and browse to the file required. Select Open, and then the Reference Attachment Settings dialog panel appears. Generally for MX the default settings can be used, although the scale might need to be selected if the reference has not been created in the current MX project. This has already been demonstrated in the previous session, and remember, we will honour both DGN and DWG format. Transparency is another useful option. On the Primary Tools toolbox, select the Level Manager icon. Not only can levels be frozen or thawed here, but transparency for levels can be set individually or in multiples. Right click on the menu bar and select Transparency if the option is not visible. Then select all the levels required in the reference. For example, right click on the transparency value and set anything from 0%, which is opaque, to 90%, which is almost completely transparent. Demonstrate the MX Model Display Toolbar. First of all, I can select my model from the list. Obviously we only have one model in the database at the moment, so I'm selecting Survey. I'm going to right click. Edit Model Defaults is available here, where we can set the plan style set and the feature set. The first icon on this toolbar erases the display and draws the current model from the list. The second icon will display a model over this current drawing and add to it. The third icon will erase the current MX model from the plan drawing. I'll select that and the survey disappears. If I pick the second icon, I can add the survey to the current drawing. This is a lot quicker than using Display Plan with Style Set, as I demonstrated earlier. I'm now going to use the Level Manager to show transparency. Level Manager from the primary toolbox. Left click. This will list all the levels in the current drawing. I'm going to right click on the tabs across the top here on the right hand side, and I'm going to go for transparency. Left click. Now that transparency has been added to the menu bar, I could select individual features. I can use the control key to add to these features, or I can go right hand mouse button and I can select all. I can now set the transparency by left clicking on one of these selected levels, and I'm going to set my transparency to 70%. And if you look at the drawing, you'll see that my survey is now faded. Again, if I right click back on the transparency, I can set that back to, left click and set that back to 0, and you can see the survey is back at its original display. This can be a very useful option when we are using references. You might have a design in the current drawing and reference in a survey, and this survey drawing could have a high transparency setting, so it's set dimmed in the background. In this session, I'm going to show you the MX output window. This displays MX output from options run from the menu. Use this window to check the current state of processing, as I did when running the survey GenIO file. It is just a toggle. If I select it, it opens up the output window. I can use the left hand mouse button to select, keep the cursor down and resize the output window. I can scroll up and down using the slider on the right hand side of the output window. I can also copy and paste from this output window. You cannot type in the output window. I'm just going to resize this again and turn it off so I can see full screen.